Welcome viewers to ZalengamMedia. Today we bring a comprehensive and in-depth analysis of a major political development involving the National Socialist Council of Nagalim, Isakmueva faction, the NSCN-I-M. This detailed report is based on the recent news carried by the Assam Tribune regarding the NSCN-I-M's joint call with the All-State Meitei Students Council for the revival of Assamese, Naga ties and a broader push for Indigenous unity. In this video, we examine the political meaning, strategic purpose, historical context, and wider implications of the NSCN-IM's messaging. This analysis deals exclusively with matters related to the NSCN-IM and its political calculations. Let's begin the analysis. The NSCN-IM's decision to issue a joint appeal for renewed Assamese, Naga ties is significant in multiple ways. The organization, which has been at the heart of Naga nationalism for nearly 5 decades, rarely engages in public joint statements with external civil groups unless there is a clear political purpose. The recent statement calling for unity between the Assamese and the Nagas, emphasizing a common indigenous identity and shared historical roots, is therefore not merely a cultural gesture, but a carefully timed political signal. To understand the depth of this move, we must first recall the strategic background of NSCN-IM politics. The NSCN-IM has been negotiating with the government of India for years, beginning with the ceasefire in 1997 and leading to the Framework Agreement of 2015. Since then, the negotiations have remained stuck due to unresolved issues about a separate Naga constitution, the demand for a Naga flag, and questions related to territorial integration. In recent years, additional pressure has come from competing Naga factions, especially groups under the Naga National Political Groups, NNPGs, who present themselves as more moderate and willing to accept an agreement without all of the symbolic demands that the NSCN-IM considers non-negotiable. In this situation, the NSCN-IM finds itself balancing between defending its ideological stand and maintaining its legitimacy among the Naga people. This explains why it has become more active in sending political messages to neighboring communities, state governments, civil society networks, and the Indian public. The recent appeal for renewed Assamese, Naga ties directly fits into this strategy. It allows the NSCN-IM to portray itself as a responsible, peace-seeking and unifying organization, rather than one driven only by confrontation or separatist goals. At the same time, this call for Indigenous unity also strengthens the NSCN-IM's traditional ideological line. For decades, the organization has described the Naga struggle as part of a broader defense of Indigenous rights against outside domination. Although political identities in the Northeast are highly diverse, the NSCN-IM has consistently framed its claims, including the idea of Nagalim or Greater Nagaland, with reference to the rights of Indigenous nations. Therefore, a gesture towards the Assamese community, emphasizing shared roots and cultural closeness, strengthens the NSCN-IM's ideological messaging that Indigenous societies of the Northeast should stand together. A question that naturally arises is, why has the NSCN-IM chosen this moment to extend a hand of friendship to the Assamese? The timing is not accidental. The Northeast political atmosphere has been highly charged in recent months. Various ethnic, territorial and administrative issues have resurfaced, and debates on autonomy, identity and representation have intensified. Assam, being the largest and most politically influential state in the region, plays a central role in any cross-regional relationship. By emphasizing Assamese, Naga brotherhood, the NSCN-IM is also indirectly signaling to the government of Assam, and perhaps to the broader Indian political establishment, that its struggle is not against neighboring peoples, but against unresolved political questions that concern the Nagas. Another interpretation of this joint statement lies in its attempt to reduce potential misunderstandings that might affect the Naga negotiations. The NSCN-IM understands that the unresolved territorial questions of Nagalim, which include areas inside Assam, can naturally create concerns among Assamese communities. By framing the relationship as one of ancient unity and shared Indigenous heritage, the NSCN-IM may be hoping to soften public perception and demonstrate that the Naga struggle does not seek hostility or conflict with the Assamese people. This also connects to the internal dynamics among Naga groups. Over recent years, different Naga factions have attempted to broaden their networks beyond Nagaland. The NSCN-I-M has historically enjoyed strong influence in certain Naga-inhabited areas across the borders of multiple northeastern states. Maintaining good relations with neighboring communities is therefore essential for the organization's strategic depth. A public appeal for harmony with the Assamese not only helps the NSCN-I-M portray itself as a peaceful actor, but also reinforces its presence in border regions, where public sentiment and community relationships can play a major role in shaping political and security outcomes. Furthermore, the NSCN-I-M's messaging about Indigenous unity serves another internal purpose. It reminds the Naga population themselves that the organization continues to advocate a broad and dignified political vision. As negotiation fatigue grows and people become impatient with the lack of a final agreement, the NSCN-I-M needs to reassure its supporters that it is still actively engaging with regional realities and building wider alliances. Public statements like this help maintain morale, protect its ideological base, and emphasize that the movement remains anchored in long-standing principles of Indigenous rights and identity. From a historical perspective, relations between the Assamese and Naga peoples have indeed been shaped by cultural exchanges, inter-community travel, and ancient trade routes. Yet the political relationship in modern times has sometimes faced friction, especially during the periods when the Naga struggle was at its peak. Border disputes and misunderstandings have occasionally created tensions. The NSCN-I-M's recent emphasis on restoring traditional bonds is an acknowledgement of this history and an attempt to focus attention on the deeper shared connections rather than the disputes. The inclusion of the All-State Meitei Students Council in this joint statement also adds an additional layer of complexity. But for the purpose of this analysis, we remain fully focused only on the NSCN-I-M's role. What matters here is that the NSCN-I-M is responding to regional developments by sending a political message that extends beyond the immediate Naga public. It is projecting itself as a guardian of Indigenous harmony across the Northeast, not merely as a group negotiating for its own benefit. Some political observers might argue that the NSCN-I-M's gesture is a strategic attempt to reshape narratives at a time when its negotiations appear stalled. That is not an unreasonable interpretation. When formal talks move slowly, public diplomacy becomes a useful tool. Public gestures of unity help strengthen the organization's moral position and reinforce its image as a responsible political actor rather than a militant faction. This is important because the public perception of the NSCN-I-M, whether within Nagaland, in neighboring states, or in the national media, plays a significant role in shaping the political climate in which negotiations occur. However, it would be incorrect to assume that this gesture is purely symbolic. In the complex social landscape of the Northeast, neighborly relations carry real consequences. Communities living along borders often share economic, cultural, and familial ties. Statements promoting harmony can help reduce local tensions and prevent misunderstandings from escalating. The NSCN-I-M's call for Assamese Naga unity may therefore reflect a genuine interest in improving ground-level community relationships, especially in areas where borders or administrative divisions have historically been contested. Another dimension worth discussing is how this call for unity aligns with the NSCN-I-M's conceptualization of Nagalim. While the demand for Greater Nagaland includes areas in Assam, the NSCN-I-M has often emphasized that territorial integration is not directed against any community, but is rooted in historical Naga habitation patterns. The organization has repeatedly stated that the rights of neighboring peoples will be respected, and that the struggle is not about domination, but self-determination. By publicly reaching out to the Assamese and highlighting shared Indigenous identity, the NSCN-I-M reinforces its claim that its political aspirations do not threaten the welfare of neighboring populations. We must also consider the broader security context. The Northeast has seen various armed movements, peace agreements, and shifting alliances. Stability often depends on trust between communities and political actors. The NSCN-I-M's statement contributes to a climate where dialogue, not confrontation, is emphasized. In this regard, the organization's message aligns with a wider trend across the region, where many groups are advocating negotiation and reconciliation instead of older patterns of hostility. It is also possible that the NSCN-I-M aims to strengthen its ties with Assamese intellectuals, student groups, and civil society organizations. Over the decades, civil society actors in Assam have played influential roles in shaping regional politics, negotiations, and peace narratives. By emphasizing unity, the NSCN-I-M may be encouraging new bridges between Naga political groups and Assamese civil institutions, which could support a more stable environment for future dialogue. Overall, the NSCN-I-M's joint appeal is a calculated and multi-layered political move. It signals ideological consistency, strategic outreach, negotiation positioning, community reassurance, and regional diplomacy. It reflects the organization's ongoing attempt to maintain its central role in Naga politics at a time when pressure from competing factions and prolonged talks make public messaging increasingly important. The long-term impact remains to be seen. Public statements do not automatically translate into political changes, but they do shape perceptions, influence dialogues, and prepare the ground for more formal engagements in the future. If this gesture helps improve Assamese, Naga relations, it could strengthen regional stability and create a more favorable environment for addressing unresolved political issues. If it remains symbolic, it still contributes to softening narratives and opening up spaces for peaceful conversation. In summary, the NSCN-IM's recent outreach demonstrates an organization that continues to project its ideological commitments while adapting to the pressures of contemporary Northeast politics. Its call for unity is both a reminder of traditional ties and a strategic intervention in the current regional landscape. Sources: Primary report, the Assam Tribune. ASMSC, NSCN-IM urge renewed Assamese, Naga ties call for Indigenous unity. Background information derived from publicly available news archives, peace talk updates, and historical analyses related to NSCN-IM and Naga political movements. Disclaimer: this analysis is prepared solely for educational and informational purposes under fair use. This video does not support or promote any armed organization. The content is based entirely on publicly available news sources and political facts already in the public domain. Any video clips, photographs, or reference materials used in this report are used only for reporting, commentary, educational value, and public interest, consistent with YouTube's guidelines under Section 107 of the Copyright Act on Fair Use. ZalengamMedia does not endorse violence. This narration represents an analytical interpretation for journalism and reporting purposes only. Thank you for watching this detailed analysis. If you want more updates, breakdowns, and in-depth political reporting from the region, please subscribe to ZalengamMedia and press the notification bell.